Hey there, gang. Editing-Lauren here. You are about to see a video that I filmed yesterday on why gratitude is helpful in treating the other half of chronic pain that nobody treats and nobody talks about. It's a video that I've wanted to share for quite a while. It's a video that I've been procrastinating a bit, not because I didn't want to do it. In fact, just the opposite. I've been dying and chomping at the bit to do this video, but because I feel so strongly about it, because it is my life's work and my passion, and I wanted to get it right, because there's so much information out there and there's so much evidence and proof, not just from my personal experience, but through many of you who belong to my community on Facebook, Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain. So I wanted to get it right. And I realized that I'm going against my own advice that I share with my members, and that we'll never get it all right. We can only do our best, and our best is good enough. So watch this with an open mind, enjoy, and find out why gratitude is an effective treatment for living a joyful life with chronic pain. We aren't treating the emotional aspect of living with chronic pain when we become injured or become stricken ill. We aren't given a user's manual on how to deal with it emotionally. And many of us slip into dark patterns, depression. For me, it was alcoholism and addiction. So there's this whole other aspect of treating chronic pain that nobody is touching. We're only treating with medication and therapies and things like that, but we're not treating the whole person. And so it leaves us kind of scrambling and treading water without ever having had a swimming lesson. So please watch this video. And I'd just like to personally thank all of the members of Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain for so kindly and generously gifting me with your comments and your insight as to what gratitude has brought to your life with chronic pain. So thank you, AOG, and enjoy the video. Hey there, gang. Lauren here, the Gratitude Addict. Welcome to my Gratitude Addict YouTube channel. If you are new to watching, I welcome you. And if you are one of my members of my Facebook community, Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain, I welcome you as well. I've been wanting to do this video. I just started this vlog a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to do a video on what the crux of my work is and what my life's mission and passion is. And that is helping those that live with chronic pain and illness to find joy and purpose in their lives. And I am a firm believer that gratitude is the answer. Now, when I tell people that, I'm often met with eye rolls and kind of grumbles, because gratitude is having its moment. You know, gratitude is a very hip buzzword. People saying choose gratitude, and you know, don't get me wrong. I love that gratitude is having its moment. I'm a big part of that and a big fan of that. But I think gratitude can be misunderstood, and so because it's having its 15 minutes of fame, isn't it only natural that somebody take that and apply it to living with chronic pain and illness? And that's why I wanted to do this video, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what I do, what I encourage people to do, and how gratitude and chronic pain work together. Why I believe that gratitude is the missing link, and because that we're not treating chronic pain properly, or at least not fully. We're not fully treating the entire person when it comes to chronic pain and illness. And I have my own personal story, which shows that to be true. But what gratitude is and what it isn't is what I wanted to provide in this video. You know, I think often we see quotes such as choose gratitude. And it doesn't work like that. You know, if it were that easy, everybody would choose gratitude. You can't just choose gratitude. You can choose to want to work towards gratitude. You can choose to want to be grateful and work towards it. Gratitude's a practice. It's a regular practice that, I mean, it is a feeling, of course. You know, you get somebody gives you something special and you're so grateful for it. It's a fleeting thing, where gratefulness is actually more of a mindset. But I believe that gratitude is a mindset that we adopt that helps us to walk through our struggles and heal and decide we want to live with joy and intention instead. And so that is where my work lies. It's not in telling people that you should be grateful, because that's not helpful. Also people saying, it could always be worse, or this one has it worse than you, or, like that is not helpful, because that is undermining your experience and what your pain is. And it's not helpful. It actually only makes us feel worse. It's also not looking on the bright side. You can't just look on the bright side and say, well, at least I don't have X, Y, and Z. I only have A, B, and C, but I don't have X, Y, and Z. That's not helpful either, because again, it diminishes our pain. Gratitude applied to chronic pain and living with connection. I say this all the time. I believe it is the secret sauce to finding joy and intention and healing from the emotional aspects of living with chronic pain and illness. That's the part that nobody talks to us about. We often get injured or we get a diagnosis, and all of a sudden life changes like that, right? And nobody gives us a user's manual on how to deal with it. We'll get treatments, we will get medications, we'll get a treatment plan, therapies, and all of that. But nobody talks to us about how this new diagnosis or new injury and new way of life, unfortunately, how it affects us emotionally. It can be very lonely. We can isolate, we can feel misunderstood. We often lose our jobs, hobbies, we lose abilities, we lose friends, we lose spouses. There is a lot of grief and loss, which is actually going to be another video, which I've been promising, a video on chronic pain and grief and loss. And so we need tools to know how to deal with all of that. My personal story, which you can see in other videos, was one where 9 years ago I found myself at a crossroads with a very serious alcohol problem, because I didn't know how to deal with the emotional aspects of this new way of life and dealing with chronic pain and illness. Nobody talked to me about that stuff. And even 9 years later, nobody else is doing what I do and helping people to find each other, to connect with each other, and to practice a solid and regular gratitude practice to help offset that negativity bias, which is ingrained in all of us. The negativity bias is in all of us by design. It's part of the fight or flight response. So when we were cave people running from a saber-toothed tiger, it came in really useful. And it still can come in handy, when we're encountered with something in the moment where we need to respond, but chronic pain, chronic long-term pain, is not something that we can treat like acute pain, where it's in the moment, where we need to exercise that fight or flight response, because whether we like it or not, it is who we are, and it is, it's a way of life. And so we can't just be tense and fighting that all of the time, because it is part of who we are. So then we're left, well, how do we deal with it? How do we find joy and purpose? I don't want to just be a survivor. I want to be a thriver. I want to thrive. And perhaps my life is not the way I envisioned it at one point. And I think all of you out there that live with a chronic pain condition can attest to that this is not the life we planned. Nobody plans to, get a chronic condition, live with chronic pain by injury or illness. Nobody plans that. It's not the life that we designed. And we have every right to be upset about that and to feel emotional and mental pain and heal through our losses and grieve these very, very real losses. But it has to come to a point, for me anyway, it has to come to a point of, how can I move on? How can I move on from this? And it's not like I can just leave my pain behind me, if only, right? If only I can leave the pain behind me. But there are tools that we can exercise, and gratitude being what I believe is the most important one of them. Focusing on the things that aren't in pain, focusing on the things that we are. Many of us have occupations or jobs that we lose, and our identity is tied up in all of that. We think, say you're a teacher. We were a teacher, that's where our identity lied. And then all of a sudden we're not a teacher anymore. So who are we, right? That I'm sure many of you can relate. And if you can relate to any of this, please feel free to put in the comments where your mindset is at. But so when we get a chronic pain condition, we're left with, well, who are we exactly if we're not a teacher or a lawyer? Or, you know, for me, I worked in the music business, but I was a stay-at-home mom. And then when I got ill, I wasn't a very good stay-at-home mom for a while. You know, I kind of stopped mothering my kids because I was so tied up in trying to cure myself. And it was all a process. I mean, I think I know we're all on different journeys. And, you know, my community, Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain on Facebook, is not for everybody. You know, people have to be in a mindset where they're willing to try something new, where they're willing to not, you know, gratitude's not looking on the bright side. It's just not, because that's also diminishing our pain. It's pushing the pain under the rug and not dealing with it. That's not healthy. That doesn't help us to heal. What we do in AOG, what we call AOG, is we walk through the pain and we decide, you know what, I want to live with joy and purpose, and I deserve to live a life of joy and purpose. How can I do this? And that's where gratitude comes in, practicing gratitude. Moved out here because I think the other room was giving me a bit of an echo. So 1 in 5 people in the world live with some kind of chronic pain condition. So 20% of our population live with chronic pain of some kind. Not all people that live with chronic pain have it affect them where it really truly affects their everyday lives, but many do. And I'm sure that all of you out there know many others who live with some sort of autoimmune disorder, cancer, an injury, like, you know, life-altering things where it's difficult to go back to what our life was because this pain overtakes us. And so we need to learn how to navigate this new normal. And that's, you know, something, again, that nobody else seems to talk about, is how do we navigate through this new normal? Yes, I have these medications, and yes, I've got this therapy, and yes, I've got these, you know, remedies and things like that. But what about this emotional pain? Because many of my members would agree with me that for me, the emotional is way more debilitating than the physical. Ooh, it's getting bright all of a sudden. Man, picked a bad time of day to work on this video. So pain is very real. It's very real. And don't let anybody tell you that it is all in your head, because it is not all in your head. At least, sort of. And when I say that, pain is real, but it's in the way that our brain perceives it that controls how we respond to it. The emotional response to it, how much we suffer. You know, there's a famous quote by the Buddha that says, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. I believe that to be true. I don't use the word suffer because I believe that suffering really is a state of mind. I can really struggle with my chronic pain, but suffering is how I respond to it, how I perceive it. When we have pain, it brings about a fear response in us, naturally. I mean, of course, pain is our body's way of giving us a warning signal that something's wrong. And that's where the chronic part gets really, really tricky. It's really more designed for acute pain. You know, when we're injured or something like that, it tells our body we're in pain, danger, 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 Will Robinson. And, you know, so we protect ourselves and don't create more pain. So what happens when the pain is chronic? We can't live in that fear mode 24/7. It's not healthy, and it often leads to depression, anxiety, and some really bad, you know, for me it was addiction, alcoholism, because it's all fear. It's, oh, there goes the sun. Phew. It's a fear-based response. This is where gratitude comes in, because gratitude helps to offset that fear. And it brings us from fear, offsets it to help us to find joy in life and help us to focus on the good things. We all know that at the end of the day, say 10 great things happen to us in a day, but there's one negative thing. We're going to focus on that negative thing. It's just the way we are. So that's why when we live with chronic pain, it requires a lot of extra effort in order to find joy and to get through all those weeds and find the other side and find joy. If we spend all of our time focusing on the pain, what is in pain, what we don't have, what was taken away from us, and these are very real losses, please don't misunderstand me. They're very real losses, but if we spend all of our time focusing on only that, how can we live a life of joy and happiness? The answer is we can't. We can't. We often say, if only I can get rid of this pain, I can then be happy. Is that likely? I hope that. I wish that for all of you. How likely is it? I don't know. I don't give up hope, and don't get me wrong either. I always am looking for new treatments and things for my own condition, so I don't give up hope. But I do come to a place of acceptance, and I've done other videos on acceptance for the way things are right at this moment. I have to, because if I'm not accepting it, that means I'm fighting it. And if I'm fighting it, that means I'm at war with myself. If I'm at war with myself, I'm creating more pain for myself. A gratitude practice helps us to get through those weeds and to look at who we really are as people, what we do have, what isn't in pain, the good about what makes us who we are as uniquely, perfectly imperfect humans that just happen to live with chronic pain. Living in that fear-based mode is not going to give us the life of joy and purpose that we desire. And having the mindset of, if only I didn't have this chronic pain, I could be happy, is taking away, it's robbing you of the joy you can have right now. And we deserve that joy right now. I wasted a lot of time and a lot of living on having that mindset many years ago. I just recently celebrated 9 years of sobriety, which is where my life turned around. I was fortunate enough to go to a 30-day inpatient chronic pain rehab in Connecticut, which unfortunately is no longer there. But I share about that in my 9 years sober video, about how that's where things really turned around for me. And I created Attitude of Gratitude with chronic pain because I knew that I needed to connect with others, because I isolated too long, and isolation is the thief of joy, as is comparing my situation with others. Comparison is the thief of joy, as Theodore Roosevelt said. So a group where we could connect and not compare our situations, that is something that I wasn't finding in other groups. People were trying to outpain each other. People were sharing the specifics of their conditions. And while that can be incredibly valuable, I wasn't finding a place where I could actually get inspired and motivated and figure out ways to find joy with what I've got right now. Okay, back inside here. Phone overheated in the sun, imagine that. I figure if the phone's overheating, I must be overheating. So I'm back inside here. Let's finish our conversation on gratitude and chronic pain. So the effects that chronic pain have on us are often so complicated. There's a lot of tentacles to it. You know, it's not just the physical aspect, like I've already said many, many times. There's also, you know, we worry about not only what we're experiencing now, but there's a natural tendency to worry about, oh my gosh, how am I going to feel in 5 years, 20 years? What do my golden years look like? How will I function? If I'm bad now, how is that going to look? You know, and that's all very natural to worry about. But it can paralyze us from enjoying the now. And I'm not saying it's not stuff that, you know, should be considered. What I'm saying is being preoccupied with it and allowing it to rob us from the joy that we can be having now is really shortchanging yourself to finding that happiness that you're so desperate to have. And I know you are. We all are. We all want to, we have basic human needs to feel like we belong. We want to feel understood. We want to connect with others. We want to feel heard. And we want to feel validated. You know, and a lot of times chronic pain can rob, I'm having a hair problem today. Chronic pain can rob us from all of those things. And so it's up to us to be proactive in finding the joy in our lives. And gratitude helps to offset the worry and the catastrophizing. We definitely catastrophize our pain, and you know that's true. We make things not worse than they are because they're bad, and don't let anybody tell you anything otherwise. But if we're constantly playing a narrative in our head, I hurt, I hurt, I hurt, I hurt, we're going to hurt. We're going to be so focused on that hurt that we're forgetting about all the good stuff that's lying outside of our comfort zones and everything that is not hurting. And we can tell ourselves that everything hurts. And look, maybe the majority of you does hurt. I do. But there are things that don't. And there are moments where you forget about your pain. They may be fleeting, but there are moments. And so if you learn to recognize what those moments are, then you can start to strive towards living those moments. And that's another thing that gratitude helps us with, is to find, what moments do I feel joy? Maybe it's when I'm coloring in an adult coloring book, or playing with my grandchildren, or writing in my journal, or something like that. Those are the things, the joyful moments in life where we can, even if we can forget about our pain for 15 seconds, that's a win. That's a win. Gratitude helps us to focus on the things that are not going wrong in our lives. Gratitude also helps us to be more mindful and be more in the moment. When we force ourselves to ask ourselves, what are we grateful for? We actually have to stop and think. And look, some days it's easier than others. Some days it can be really difficult to find something to be grateful for, especially on those days when we're in a lot of pain. But it does it helps us to take pause and think. And it stops our brain from running rampant, because when our brain runs rampant with the pain, it just gets out of control, and it takes us along with it, instead of us being in control of the moment and really shifting our perspective and thinking about things and thinking about those joys in life. Because left unattended, our mind will always gear us towards that pain because we hurt. It's just understandable. So incorporating a gratitude practice, and this is a daily or at least a regular practice, really helps us to be more mindful and find the joy in any given moment. Our mind feeds anything that nourishes it. So if we are always feeding it that narrative of I hurt, I hurt, I hurt, we are going to feed into that. But what if we're nourishing our brain with what we are grateful for? We are going to nourish our brain with that instead. And it might be more difficult, but if we're nourishing our brain with that, we are going to start chipping away at that negativity bias, and we're going to start gearing a bit more towards the positive. It's up to us to find those moments and to find those glimmering, shimmering moments of joy and be proactive in our own practice, or we'll never find that happiness, because the chances of you just losing your chronic pain like that tomorrow, I'm sad to say, are probably not all that realistic. We can try, and like I said, I'll never give up hope. But what if we were just more proactive in finding happiness in the now, in the today? That's what gratitude helps us with. So I asked the members of Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain last week. I put a post up and said, I can share my personal thoughts and experience, but what about you guys? How does gratitude affect your life with chronic pain? And so let me go gather up that post. I want to read you what some of their answers are, because they're pretty spectacular. All right, I got my trusty iPad here with the post. So I asked them, how has gratitude bettered your life with chronic pain? And since we're a private group, I cannot use their names. So I told them I would not use their full names, but I said, before they commented, I said, if I mention your comment, I may use your first name. So everybody that commented was okay with that. So let's see, we've got 63 comments in the group. I did not expect this huge response to it, to be honest with you, but it was within seconds of me posting it that people were already sharing their own experience. So, on a scientific front, let me start by saying this. On a scientific front, gratitude has been shown to improve our, and this is scientifically proven, this is not my personal stance, although it is that too. But studies show that gratitude helps improve our relationships. It helps us to sleep better. It helps to lower blood pressure. It helps to improve our psychological health. It helps to enhance our sense of well-being. So besides me telling you what gratitude has done for me and the almost 10,000 members of my community, there are actual scientifically proven benefits to a practice of gratitude. Not choosing gratitude. You can choose to practice gratitude, but you can't just decide to be grateful. It requires work and effort. So let me tell you what the members said in response to my question. Alice says, it gets me to concentrate more on the positive aspects of my life, appreciating the good days and reading about how other folks are coping. All good. Annika says more empathy and awareness. Deborah says it has made me aware that my life is richer than most healthy people. I appreciate life with all its ups and downs. Gratitude has enriched my life in too many ways to count. Now, I want to remind you that this is a group of people all living with chronic pain and illness, and they willingly added these comments, which is just, I swear, it really just makes me want to cry, and I might cry, because so many of us feel hopeless when we become stricken with chronic pain and illness. We feel like our life is over as we know it, and it might be over as we once knew it, but that doesn't mean it's over. It just might be different, and it will be different, but it's up to us. We can stay stuck in the mud of our misery, or we can choose to do something about it and to utilize the tools that are at our disposal. Again, there's no doctors or anybody else talking about the emotional aspects of chronic pain, so it really is my life's passion and mission to get this out, that we are only treating half of chronic pain. We're only treating the physical pain part. We're not treating the emotional. And that part is what can really cause people to go down a dark path like it did for me. So there's all that. Let's read some more responses. Helen says, gratitude has made me look at all the positive aspects of my life and be thankful for the good. Melinda says, with gratitude work, I was able to break out of victim mode, shift my energy to greater healing, reprogram my brain signals and mind perception of my situation from negative to positive, create a new way of being, change my entire existence. Wow. Wow. Carla says, focusing on gratitude has helped me realize that I am not useless. I believe I had my aha moment because of practicing gratitude. This is amazing. Kathy says, I certainly laugh more. I had a more positive attitude when planning things. I also have more hope. Beautiful. Kathy says, focusing on gratitude helps me focus more on the good and not on my pain. There is always something to be grateful for, and I try to practice seeing the good in each moment. Christine says, less complaining about my health and physical issues, and I also find myself laughing more, and I'm a little more spontaneous. How amazing is that? How amazing is that? Christine, I know, is new to the group, or within the past few months, and I know that she shared with me recently that the group has really brought her so much hope in practicing gratitude, and she practices the tools that we offer in the group as well as practicing gratitude. So to hear she's more spontaneous is just amazing. I often say that gratitude helped me find my smile again, because I didn't smile for a long time, and I'm a smiley person by nature, but I lost hope and I lost my smile. And gratitude has helped me find that again. Let's see. Shelley says, it's given me something far better to focus on. It's helped me see things I wouldn't normally have seen. It has enabled her to slow down and recommended meditation as a way of stress release, acceptance, and slowing down. Perfect. Courtney says, gratitude has helped me make peace with my conditions. I am lighter, more present, and let go of things I cannot control easier and quicker. Brilliant. That's really it in a nutshell. Barbara says, gratitude has made me aware of all I do have and all the people I love and who love me. Terry says, from the perspective of gratitude, I have finally come to a place of acceptance. It's key, gang. Watch my video on acceptance, you'll see. From acceptance, I have realized the absolute importance of self-care. From prioritizing self-care, I can reach a place of inner peace that I did not have before. Gratitude has enabled me to deal with the hard places in life. honestly, I couldn't have written this better myself. I was so happy that I put this post up and it got these responses, because to hear it from the members directly and from people who really practice it shows you that gratitude helps chronic pain. It helps you treat the other 50%, the other aspect we are not treating of chronic pain, and that's the emotional aspect. Lois says, gratitude brings balance to my life. Deirdre says, gratitude within this group is a turning point for me, meaning attitude of gratitude with chronic pain she's referring to. I realize that all of you live with chronic pain, and somehow this feeling that it is not just me, that vast numbers of people have to live with this, and you guys are not moaning or complaining, you are really living. This means living with gratitude and joyfulness. This means I can do the same. It is possible. Thank you. Thank you, Deirdre. That was a beautiful comment. Pam says it helps to keep things in perspective and focus on the positive things in my life. Donna says, as soon as I change my focus to gratitude, pain loses its grip. Eleanor says, I have chronic pain. I first learned real gratitude from my sister, who was tortured for years with cancer and its side effects, yet not a complaint from her. The conversation revolved around how beautiful the birds sing, encouraged her to, through her pain, and reminding her that her legs may hurt, but I have legs. Always grateful. Gratefulness has helped me appreciate the simplest beauty in every day. Beautiful. Teresa says that her sister died 6 weeks ago after 10 years of kidney problems. Her last 6 weeks were in the hospital, in ICU. If you asked how she was, she always said stunning. God bless your sister and you for your family. Mary says gratitude helps her focus on abundance instead of lack. Joe says less focus on the things I can't do. Jan says, even with daily pain, I still manage to get some stuff done each day. Maybe not everything on my list, but at least something. Diana says, after 32 years of chronic pain, I know for a fact that the only reason I am still here on this earth is because of gratitude. When I finally realized that although I didn't have a choice about the things that happened to me that left me with chronic pain, I did have a choice about how I was going to deal with it. First, I stopped chasing rainbows, hoping for a cure, and getting disappointed over and over. Then I learned to accept it. And finally, I learned how to mine for the gold, to look for the reasons I can be grateful for the life I have been given. When you are intentionally looking for things to be grateful for, your life is a lot more enjoyable. I still have hard days, but I know I don't have to stay there. I have a choice about what my attitude and thoughts will be focused on. This group has been an added encouragement for me so I don't sink into the dark and hard days and get stuck. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Diana. Suzanne says, just like salt, gratitude flavors her day. I love that. I may turn that into a quote. Robin says, gratitude has helped me reframe my focus on the gifts I have instead of what I lack. In turn, more things to be grateful for show up in my existence. Mary says, gratitude has let both my physical and emotional pain know that there is a new sheriff in town, and that new sheriff will be calling the shots from now on. I love that. Anne says, gratitude focuses my thoughts on the positive side, which enables me to concentrate on my pain level less. Jan says, gratitude is what makes me push through, especially on difficult days. Lynn says, gratitude helps me to always see the positive side of every situation, even when things don't work out the way I want them to. By being grateful, I often realize the way it worked out was even better. And Anna says, gratitude has shown me it's okay to slow down life and enjoy the small moments more and to really take them in. I'm able to be more present to life and see things that I was not noticing before. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Those responses are just incredible from people who were so willing to provide you with some insight on how gratitude and chronic pain really work together to help treat that other 50% that we're not treating with chronic pain. So that's all I got, gang. I don't know how to say it any better than what my members did, and how to show you that you can make the decision to incorporate a gratitude practice into your life. And from there, a gratitude practice will help you to find that joy and purpose and meaning in your life that you feel you're lacking because of your chronic pain. It does help with chronic pain. It helps many aspects of your pain, not just the physical, but the emotional, the spiritual, the psychological, all those parts that we're not treating. A gratitude practice can help with. And when you combine that with connection, and you can join my group on Facebook, Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain. Come hang out with others who want to find joy and purpose and who live with chronic pain and illness. It's not always easy. It is not sunshine and rainbows, and we shouldn't just choose gratitude. We can choose to practice gratitude because we know we are worth it and we deserve it. And you are worth it, and you do deserve it. And you are well on your way if you can incorporate a gratitude practice into your life. Come join us at AOG. We'd love to have you. Thanks for watching. And if you have any questions or comments, tell me what gratitude has brought to your life with chronic pain, or perhaps what questions you have about how it works exactly. What do you have to lose? It's free. It is available to you. You can, practice it in a community like mine. You can get a journal, but I encourage you, find a gratitude buddy. There are so many different ways you can practice gratitude. If you watch my live broadcast, I have all 90 something past episodes here on my YouTube channel that you can watch. You can find all sorts of ways you can practice gratitude other than a gratitude journal, which, I wrote a gratitude journal. I wrote 2 gratitude journals, so I'm all for them, but there are lots of different ways if that's not your thing. You can get a gratitude buddy, take gratitude photos. There's enormous amounts of ways, but I just want you to incorporate it into your life. So until next time, gang, peace and love, and get your gratitude on.